Rhyme is one of the basic things that people think about when they think about poetry, in English at least. It's like, oh yeah, poetry. Oh yeah, rhymes. But not all poetry rhymes. There are two types of poetry that don't rhyme, blank verse and free verse. Just talking about rhyme is complicated enough, so I'll talk about poetry that doesn't rhyme in another lesson. So, what is rhyme? Like many of the definitions I'm going to be giving, there are exceptions, but the basic definition, the one that works most of the time, is that rhyme describes a similar sound at the end of two or more words. So, for example, hat rhymes with cat, and long rhymes with song. In the first case, both words end in at, and in the second case, both words end in ong. This type of rhyme is an example of a perfect rhyme, also called a full rhyme, or a true rhyme, or an exact rhyme. That seems fairly simple and straightforward, and if that was all there was to it, I wouldn't really need to make this video. But there are many different kinds of rhyme, and that's where confusion and misunderstanding can start to creep in. Let's start though by looking at one or two examples of this very basic kind of rhyme. In the previous lesson I gave the first line of Thomas Gray's Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard as an example of a very regular iambic pentameter. That regularity continues as the poem progresses. The curfew tolls the knell of parting day, the lowing herd winds slowly o'er the lea, the ploughman homeward plods his weary way, and leaves the world to darkness and to me. Now fades the glimmering landscape on the sight, and all the air a solemn stillness holds, save where the beetle wheels his droning flight, and drowsy tinklings lull the distant folds. Each line has the same steady iambic pattern, and the punctuation is all at the end of each line, so there are no breaks in the rhythm of the poem. It's perhaps not surprising then that the rhyme is equally regular. Day rhymes with way, lee rhymes with me, sight with flight, and holds with folds. The annotation of rhyme is basically very simple. We call the sound at the end of the first line A, and then look at the next line. The sound at the end of that line is different, so we call that one B. The third line is the same as the first line, so that's another A, and the fourth line is B. So the rhyme scheme of the opening stanza of the poem is AB, AB. Normally, we would move on and say that the second stanza is CD, CD, and so on to the end of the poem, EF, EF, GH, GH, etc. In this particular case, that would be a rather boring task since it's quite a long poem and it all follows the same pattern. Some poems have rhyming elements in two different stanzas. So a line in the first stanza might rhyme with a line in the second or third stanza. But that isn't the case here, so really there wouldn't be all that much point in going through the whole alphabet to show the rhyme scheme, though we could do if we wanted to. I'm just covering the basics here. We'll come back and look at how we could mark the rhyme scheme of a longer poem later on.